Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Connect, our family live show brought to you by Spectrum Television. You already know that I am super excited to be here this evening to talk family life, talk love, talk man-woman, talk family. You know that relationships actually go beyond what the man and the woman share. How is your relationship like with your siblings? How is your, work-life relationship? How do you balance all of that? That's what we are here on Connect to talk about. Of course, I know you haven't forgotten my name, but let me introduce myself to you. If this is your first time of flipping on to Spectrum Television, which is live in Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, my name is Uyai Aniekan. I'm super excited to be here, as you can already tell. I'm always excited to talk about family life with you. Of course, we have a subject of conversation today. What is the burning issue on the table? It's already December, and like you know, cash matter, serious matter. Across the country, they are saying that a similitude of cash crunch is beginning to happen again. Central Bank is explaining our entry here. Commercial banks are explaining our entry here. What exactly is happening? Now, what is the role of money in our relationship? In this romance, bromance, and all the rances that we are doing, what is the role of money? So that's the big conversation that we're having today. The role of money in relationships, the impact of money on romance, however you want to put it, that's what we are talking about today. What I'll do before we take our first break, let's give a flash of our question of the week. And then when we return, we will open up the phone lines and get your contributions. Okay, question of the week for this blessed Wednesday evening. How hard is it to talk about money? How hard is it to talk money issues with your partner? In whose name should couples buy property? Hey, wahala. How hard is it to talk money issues with your partner? And in whose name should properties be bought? That is the big question of the day. And we're going to take just a quick break now. When we come back from this breather, we're going to be opening up the phone lines all over Nigeria. Now that money is doing like money, in whose name should we buy property, number one? And in these times, or before now, is it really hard to talk about money? And what should the role of money in relationships be? This is what we'll be talking about on Connect this evening. Stay with us.
Christmas season is here again. Are you aware that making your business or products visible on a television space gives your brand a wider visibility and patronage? In the spirit of the season, Spectrum Television is offering a whopping 25% discount on all services. Advertise your products and services while this offer lasts from 1st December 2023 to January 31st, 2024. We are a television with a passion to take your business and services on a satisfactory lane. You do not want to miss this opportunity. For more inquiries, visit our city office at number 2 Taft Plaza Close off Akaitinen Road, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, or call the following numbers on your screen. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon. For premium broadcasts and entertainment, sports on the go, and news from the world, watch Spectrum TV on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and free-to-air frequency 12733. Visit our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
SpectrumTv, broadening your horizon.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Of course, we're here this Wednesday evening to talk money and relationships on Connect, a family live show brought to you by Spectrum Television. Of course, I am Wiyaneka and excited. Yeah, of course, before we went on that breather, we brought you the question of the week. Please, let's flash that question again and open up our phone lines this evening, even as we get into the crux of this conversation. Is it difficult for you to talk money issues with your partner? And in whose name should couples buy property? All right, let's take our first social media response for this question this evening. Our first social media response, of course, this was a long lesson. Marriage shouldn't pause anyone's personal life. I think this is the second part of her response. Let's go to the first. Imabasi had quite a long response, and this is not the first part of it. Let's take the first part of it. This is her second part. Another part, I will try to see if I can call that up and read it. Okay, for me, it's very easy. For me, it's very easy for us to discuss money issues. It has never been a problem. I can wake up from sleep and discuss money. I can discuss money issues anytime, any day. It's no big deal. If we not discuss money, waiting we one day discuss. Number two, she said, if it's landed property for the family, it has to be in our names, Mr. and Mrs., whoever is interested. However, we can buy in our individual names if it's personal investment. This is Imabasi's first response. She said, however, we can buy in our personal names if it is a personal investment. So I'm going to come back to that. Although we are a married couple, is it still okay for us to have personal investment? That is a matter that Imabati has raised this evening. All right, let's take the second response. Now, on the heel of saying if it's our personal investment, we can go ahead to buy in our names, she's saying marriage shouldn't pause one's personal life. I can choose to invest for myself. I work and earn. So I decide the part of my income that goes to family project and the part for personal investment. My personal life doesn't cease because I am now married. I can choose to build an estate for myself in my name. This doesn't in any way affect projects done as a couple. That was such a full and robust response, touching it everywhere. Okay, let's take another response that we have this evening. Now, okay, still Imabasi, okay, which means she gave us quite some response. She said, the only thing I advocate is that your partner should be fully aware of your personal project. It shouldn't be done in secrecy. Thank you so much, Imabasi, for taking all your time to break this down for us. Of course, Imabasi reached us from Uyo. Okay, this is another response from Abbas. It's easy to talk and discuss money matters. In short, it's just like every other matter. It's just like every other issue. Now, she said, in this, he said, we agreed it should be in his name, except, things he's purchasing for her, of course. Now, this particular family have agreed that whatsoever property that they're buying should be in the husband's name, except like personal gifts that the husband is directly buying for her. So in this case, if he's buying her a car, he will write it in her name. If he is buying her a plot of land, it will be in her name. If he is buying her high priced jewelry, it will be in her name. This is what this family has agreed. So 2 things we can deduce from this. Every family must develop their script, their financial script, and decide how it works for them. Now, because Imam Hassan and her husband, etc., have decided that they can individually invest in projects, without doing it in secrecy, does not mean that it will work for another family. Another family will say, oh no, we cannot have individual projects because we are a couple. Just like Abasa said, in her own family, all projects and all property would go in the husband's name, except personalized, giftings. Does this work for you and your family? Now, the subject of also having joint accounts. You say, we have married, all our money should come together. If you earn 400,000 naira, your 400,000 naira should come to the account balance, and the person that is earning 50,000 should also bring the 50,000. Collectively, we know that we have 450,000, so we now bring that to a collective purse. Is that a problem for you? Is it going to be a problem for you if you get married? Are you open to having a joint account? Now, we're going to break this conversation down. Our phone lines are displayed on the screen, and I am super ready to take your calls, whatever your side of the story is. We must acknowledge the fact that finances play a very, very big role. Okay, we do have a call already. Ooh! Hello, good evening, and welcome to Connect. What's your name and where are you calling from?
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, good evening.
Please turn down the volume of your television set. It's interfering with your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, absolutely.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Arinze Edikechukwu.
Arinze Edikechukwu. Calling us from where?
From Lagos.
Lagos.
State.
Thank you very much. All right, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, my thought is that, the thing is really the couples needs to discuss with each other why the husband is trying to know the main intentions of the wife. If something goes to the husband, because as a man, definitely the man would want to own the properties. But if you study your wife and discover that she's reliable, she's trustworthy, she has all these characters, you can do it both. Mr. and Mrs. can come in. But whereby as the man, you discover that your wife's life is not genuine, you just go ahead, buy properties on your own name, so you're on the safer side. So that's my own contribution. Thank you.
Okay, so let me ask you a quick question. What do you mean when you say if your wife's life is not genuine? Like, what's that about?
Women are the most one of the difficult books to study, but I'm putting it that way. You don't easily understand women. So even if you as a man, you marry them, you still really need to put some tests and try to know the wife very well. So if after some tests and looked at for some qualities and she got that trust, that respect, that dependency on you as the man too, you can bring her in. But if while doing this you discover that he's not someone you can trust, maybe for the children and for the entire family, you can just go ahead, get the properties on your own name.
Okay, thank you so much, Ikechukwu, for calling us from Lagos. I would also like to find out how is Spectrum Television and visibility and reception in Lagos for you?
It's been a very beautiful experience, and I've been enjoying the show. Before this very segment of the show, I've been following, and it's been very beautiful.
Thank you so much, Ikechukwu, for calling. We absolutely appreciate your time. Okay. Of course, we are taking responses from all over the country. Ikechukwu has just called us from Lagos. He said you have to understudy your wife. Know that, you have to understand, is she dependable with money or, property? You know that there is a story that we shared one time that a wife had a property, got her husband to rent that property and was paying rent to her. We have another caller. Let's take that. Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Muhammad Mubarak Mutala. I'm calling from Kwakwashi.
Kwakwashi? Where's Kwakwashi, please? What state?
Niger State.
Niger State. Thank you so much, Mubarak, for calling. Let's hear your thoughts this evening.
Yes, ma'am. The women.
Okay, Mubarak, we have you on the phone line, so you can feel free to go ahead and speak. Okay, seems like we lost that particular call. We hope that Mubarak can call back and let's hear his thoughts on this particular issue. But we are talking money and its impact on relationships. Our question of the week is it difficult for you and your partner to talk money issues? And also, in whose name should properties be bought? Some social media responses that we had said, it's okay if it's a family project, we will buy it in the husband's name. Another person says, we will buy it in the name of Mr. and Mrs. And then if it's an individual project, I will buy it in my name, because the woman says, I work for my money and I'm free to use it for myself. But let's look at why money issues are a big issue around relationships. First of all, when you come down to Africa, most times we find out that when the affluent die, for instance, a husband of an affluent family dies, usually it's difficult for the wife to access, his money or his property, because most often than not, these properties are bought in the husband's name. Okay, we have a caller. Please, before you call us, do ensure to turn down the volume of the television set so that we can have a smooth sell. Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, we hope that network is not trying to distort our conversation with our viewers tonight. Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
Your name and where you're calling from?
Najati.
Okay, I don't think that person is ready to speak to us yet. Please make sure you turn down the volume of your television set and make sure you're ready to speak. You're on live television nationally. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're still talking about this issue of money. So I was saying something before that call came. Oftentimes, if we have like the progenitor of the family, the husband die, it's usually difficult for most wives to access their husband's property, their husband's money, because most of these things were done in his name. And so we have seen families be, taken away from what belongs to their father because he died, and those things were not done in the mother's name. Hence the question, to what extent do you talk money issues in your family, and in whose name should properties be bought? I think we have someone on the phone line. Can we take that particular call? Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Stanley, calling from Akwa Ibom.
Stanley, where are you calling from? We didn't get your location. There seems to be a serious network interference. Stanley, if you're still there, please let us know your location.
Hello.
Yes, hello? All right, please, let's drop that particular call. We are having quite network glitch. Please, if you're finding it difficult to call us, you can also send us WhatsApp messages and we will take your responses real time. That number on the screen is also our WhatsApp number, and we will take your responses real time as you send them, just in case the network is interfering with our calls. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from? Same issue. Please, let's take it, let's give us some breather with the calls so that we can fix what the issue is. Probably just allow the line to breathe a little bit and then we get back to the calls. Okay, so we are saying that the issue of finances, how it affects families when a husband dies, is usually part of the reasons why we really need to talk these matters in courtship whilst we are dating. You need to understand someone's financial language before you head on to a lifelong relationship with them. Someone who's not big on collective spending, collective saving, and all of that, and you are bent on it must be together. You have to have that conversation before you get married, before that begins to be the bedrock of all of the relationship issues you have. We hear my late pastor used to say that money sponsors romance. Like, if there is no money, romance is to tire person. I love you and love you isn't enough. It didn't day enough in our Nigerian parlance. There has to be money to go side by side. A year cannot come and go. You've not bought your wife flowers. You've not bought her a dress. Auntie, the guys are saying they're tired of singlets and shirts. Even us, we can buy our husband property. I remember a certain woman in this country that bought her husband a power bike worth of 15 million naira that year. Those kinds of things. These are things we can do for the people that we love because of Hey. Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling for? Are you old enough to talk to us about this issue?
Yes.
Okay. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, I think a child is playing with a phone and a parent really needs to get that phone from the child. That's like the second time that particular person is calling. Okay. So we are saying that money is, an integral part of relationships, and we really need to have these conversations so that there will be peace in the home. We'll run through quite a number of things. We've taken our responses. You can also feel free to still flash the responses that we got from the social media on our screens. And like I said, we seem to have an interference with the phone lines. You can send us WhatsApp or text messages, and we will take your responses real time. We're meant to be having our guests join us, but I think still the network issue. We'll find another way around to get our guest on the show. She is, of course, a barrister and a wife, serious financial advocate when it comes to relationships. Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is James.
Okay. James, you're calling
I'm
us from where?
I'm calling from Delta State.
Delta State. Thank you so much, James. Please go ahead. Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay, it's a very good thing on the program.
Thank you.
Properties are bought in the name of the couples. That shows love, care, affection, and faithfulness. But we discovered that a lot of couples, wives, some of them, the attitude and whatever they did, that is why you see some men decide to buy materials or things in their children's name or on their name.
Okay, so you're saying wives are part of the issues, part of the reasons why men do not like to buy property in the name of the family or in the name of the wife?
Yes, because I have one experience myself.
Do you care to share the story with us?
Yes.
Okay, quickly. Let's hear you.
I lost my elder brother.
Okay.
And he has kids. Everything I was trying to do, everything in the name of the wife, because she was with the man and they are married. But the lady went and turned around, collected all the documents and collected them. As I'm speaking to you, the lady don't even talk to me anymore. That is how she was fighting with her family. But I just decided to say, okay, you people should leave her. It's her husband. Whatever she feels to do, let her do. As I'm talking to you, that is how she's living. As I'm talking to you, she's not calling me. So tell me, any of my member family, can they buy their property in the name of woman like this again?
Big question.
So this is my experience.
Big question, James. Thank you so much for sharing. So out of experience also, thank you so much for your call, James. We absolutely appreciate you for joining the show tonight and giving us, your contribution. Big question, big input there. So we also realized from James's story that experience is part of why people take the financial decisions and property purchase decisions that they take. It might not have happened to James directly, but happened to someone in his family, and now it is going to affect everyone else around. Okay? We have another call. We'll take that call now. Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from. Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from. Okay, we lost that particular call. I would like for us to space the calls so that we are able to, have our conversation. And also, please endeavor to turn down the volume of the television set before you place the call. Don't try to hear your voice on TV and hear it on the phone at the same time. It gives us a holdback and it's problematic, okay? Thank you so much for everyone who is joining in on the show tonight. We're talking money issues and how it affects relationships. We've taken quite a number of responses tonight, and we are going to see the fact that money can either build or break your relationship. Several experts have said, have given us this report, how money can break or my relationship. There is something called financial language. Everybody does have a financial language. Some people are spenders, others are savers. Others are investors. Oftentimes, you will not find more than 1-2 mix in a particular person. Some people are spendthrifts. They just want to spend, the money when the money comes back into their hands, and so they are not big on saving. Most often than not, you'll find that where relationships are concerned, you would find that in the context of a husband or a wife, one person is going to be a spender and the other person is going to be someone who saves. Now, if we have this kind of blend in marital relationships, it will help to checkmate the person who is a spender and the person who might be an excessive saver, right? So we need to understand what our individual financial language is before we go into long-term partnerships. Now, in the name of marriage and all the likes, we're going to look at quite a few indices, how several studies have shown us the impact of money on relationship. Even in the dating relationship, how does money intersect and build or mar these kinds of relationships? That's the conversation we are having this evening. Well, we also know that in this climate, it's just all over the world. We know that some people take to relationships, take to a particular person because this person is financially stable and can afford to spend on them. So part of the reasons why we go into relationship, topmost for most people, is financial security. Financial security is part of the reasons why people marry. You're going to hear a young woman say, me, I am an oga wife, so I don't want stress. I want to marry a man that have money. Until you say, follow, try, they work for your own money. But these are the things that we see all around us every now and then, because financial security is a big part of relationships. The lack of money can strain your relationship. I think another thing I'm going to put out there tonight is, in the present time economy all over the world, beyond Nigeria, is it okay for one partner not to be working? Remember that in the days of our grandmothers, because most of our mothers worked, in the days of our grandmothers, most of them, I think is even coming to my mind, it's not like our grandparents did not work. It's not like our grandmothers did not work. They didn't just do civil jobs. Most of them were market women. They sold in the market. It means they were bringing something to the table. So I think for the longest of time, this concept of, I'm a baby girl, I don't have to work, I will just wait for who will work and bring me money, I think that concept is enshrined in a fallacy that is not real. Because I remember that my grandmother was a trader. What was your own grandmother? Oftentimes she was a trader if she did not come from like an elite family. So it means that women have always contributed to the financial quotient of the family. It might not just be as much as what a husband should be bringing, but it is important that in the face of this current day financial, higi-haga, some people call it tinubulization. Everybody needs to be working and bringing something. If your husband is bringing 100, if you bring 50, it means that collectively as a family we have 150. Then we'll decide what we are going to do with this money. But then, I was saying earlier, we have those that are spenders, savers, and investors. You need to find your, financial language and know how to marry. If you are both spenders, you have to go for financial education. It is in this day that, people will say we want to get married, but we are not going to read books. Our love is enough for us. You better go and read financial books so that your eye will not do 20. These are the issues that we're talking about tonight. But we're going to put a pause on this particular story and take our trending video of the day. Let's see what we took off the internet. What's trending for our stories today?
And I've learned to love me too. Never have I felt that I could be all that you see. It's like our hearts have intertwined into the perfect harmony. This is why I love you. Ooh, this is why I love you. Because you love me. You love me. This is why I love you. I found love in you. And I've learned to love me too. never have I felt that I could be all that you see. It's like our hearts have intertwined into the perfect harmony. This is why I love you. Ooh, this is why I love you. Because you love me. You love me. This is
You will be wondering why we have the video that was put together by the Falana family as our trending video of the week. We are talking money. As you can see, Femi Falana, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, and his wife also, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, were recently decorated. It means that we have in this Falana family 2 sons. Now, the background story to this says that Femi Falana was in the legal practice for quite a while, and his wife was in another field until she decided to come study law. And upon coming to study law, she began to rise in the rank very quickly. And Femi Falana decided to open his enterprise, his practice, and he called it Falana and Falana. Eventually, when the wife, came on to practice, he called it Falana and Falana. And something that caught my attention is the fact that since his wife, joined the agency, the impact and growth, the business end of Falana and Falana, exponentially changed. It means that yes, Femi Falana was doing something right, but then when his wife joined him, the whole practice, the business end, the total put together of the practice changed for them, and they have been doing good together. So that legally, that literally, what do we call it? Learned colleagues in love. That's what we have here. And why we chose this video for the day is the fact that this is directly impacting on the financial tone of this family. He has said the business end of Falana and Falana, got better after his wife joined the practice. After his wife joined the agency. It goes to show that there is a lot we must do as partners. Remember that at the beginning we had asked, in whose name should properties be bought? In the name of Mr. and Mrs., in the name of Mr., in the name of Mrs., in whose name should these things be bought? And like I said earlier, we must be guided that it works for family A this way doesn't mean it's going to work for family B this way. This means that these are conversations that people in courtship, people in dating relationships that hope to get married must have. You can't just throw it to the wind and hope that somehow, all of those things are going to be handled. It will be a problem for you in the long run. Of course, we are looking at the impact of money on relationships. We're still on standby to see if our guests can actually join us and we can have this conversation. So far, so good. This is the conversation on the table. We'll take one quick breather, and when we come back, it will be the concluding part of Connect tonight.
Christmas season is here again. Are you aware that making your business or products visible on a television space gives your brand a wider visibility and patronage? In the spirit of the season, Spectrum Television is offering a whopping 25% discount on all services. Advertise your products and services while this offer lasts from 1st December 2023 to January 31st, 2024. We are a television with a passion to take your business and services on a satisfactory lane. You do not want to miss this opportunity. For more inquiries, visit our city office at number 2 Taft Plaza Close off Akaitinen Road, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, or call the following numbers on your screen. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon. For brilliant broadcasts and entertainment, sports on the go, and news from the world, watch Spectrum TV on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and free-to-air frequency 12733. Visit our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Thank you for still being there. It's Connect coming to you live from Spectrum Television, Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. This evening, we're talking about money, its impact on relationships. We had a question of the week: in whose names should properties be bought? And there was this other question that we asked. It skips my mind now. Of course, we'll flash it somewhere along the program. But we're going to talk about, okay, the question was, how hard is it for you to talk money issues with your partner? This is the question that we have. We've taken up responses. If you're just joining us and you want to get the the brunt of the conversation, we're streaming live on YouTube. You can always go back. You get the the contribution of everyone who's called from all over the country this evening. But let us look at how to talk about money while dating or with an established partner, because we know that these greatly impact on relationship. There is something called the psychology of money, and everyone must understand that money has a psychology. Money is called currency for a reason. It flows, it goes and it comes depending on how you handle it. Therefore, you must understand the psychology, more like the body language of money, and how it directly impacts on your relationship. Now, the first thing that I would say to you tonight is that take time to understand each other's values. What are your values as individuals? And what are your values where money is concerned? Earlier, I said some people are spenders, investors, others are savers. You need to understand what your values are and how you would interpret it where money is concerned. This would absolutely help. Now, like I said, if one person loves spending money on going out to eat, while the other person prefers to avoid eating out to save money, this could present a difference in values, and you must have a conversation about it. You know those wives that you want to buy something that is 5,000 and your wife is saying, why are you spending that amount of money? Like, if I use that 5,000, I'll be able to cook a pot of soup in the house that will eat 2-3 days. Why do you want to use and eat one time? That woman is a saver. You know, she's trying to save up money for you at home instead of just spending it and spending it. So we are saying, first of all, take the time to understand each other's money values. Number two, be clear about who pays for what. We have a situation where some women are not big on a man should spend on them. Maybe you think the percentage is low, but there are women like that who take pride in taking care of their own financial needs. And if at all a man is going to come, they don't want you to feel like they are a burden. Now, you must also be clear on who pays for what. For instance, in the dating cycle, when you go out, who pays for what? I think we have our guests joining us virtually this evening. We apologize we can't have on video. Network is really playing with us. But we have Barrister Esther Edidiong Eno joining us this evening. Good evening, Esther. Good to have you on Connect this evening. Okay, the phone line is still interfering with our conversation, but we know we'll be able to do this in a few minutes with Esther. She's a barrister of the law, a married person, and a serious financial advocate where, you know, marriages and relationships are concerned. Hello, Esther. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. Okay, whilst we still try to get Esther, we'll still be speaking about some of the criteria for how money should be handled in relationships. Now, I was saying be clear on who should pay for what. And I was giving examples around the dating cycles where you say, oh, a man is taking you out of, on a date. You don't take money in your purse. You don't bother to help. A friend of mine gave an example, say if we go to the cinemas and he's buying the tickets, I will buy the popcorn. A collective spending, especially now that the economy is not really smiling. And you know how they say men like to tempt people. They will now take you out and be doing all manner of things. Me, I've said that nobody should test me. Don't test me, you will fail, you will fail. But this is what we're saying. You know, sometimes they're just testing you. They want to see and understand your money tone. And then they dole out money and see the way you're reacting. And they know that, if I marry this one, I no go get savings, you know. And then sometimes people say, oh, this woman is too materialistic. Someone called us, I think it was James who called us, and he said, you have to know the kind of woman that you are with before you make these kinds of investments. Of course, we're talking money issues and relationships this evening on Connect. The third point that I'll bring up tonight is, don't impose on someone else. Don't force someone to be a particular kind of way where money is concerned. You can't come and tell someone that, my ex don't used to collect gift. My ex don't used to want me to buy anything in her name. Oh yeah, you would have married your ex. Now this is a new person. Like I said, back to the first point, you have to understand your money language, your money psychology, and your money values for you not to impose, you know, money values on the next person. Everyone has a different money story. Someone who grew up from a background of affluence is not going to have the same money language as someone who has had to toil and walk through life to earn every penny that they have got. You have to understand the money psychology of the person that you are with. Please let me know when Esther is available to be able to speak. The network is really in our way. We apologize, but we are having good time, I hope. And our phone lines are still displayed on the screen if you have one or two contributions that you want to bring to the table before our time is up. Now, the most important part for me this evening is going to be, if you are considering marriage, get financially naked. Get financially naked. Now, what does this entail? One of the biggest questions for you to ask someone who you want to move into a marriage relationship is uncle, how much do you owe? In naira, in dollars, how much do you owe? Sister, I know you like bone straight. These bone straights that you have been wearing, how many of it have you bought on, on credit? Let us know how much it is you are owing. You must have the conversation of money. How much is this person owing? How much is this person worth? How much are they willing to invest out of what they earn before you go and marry the person? Do not marry a person without understanding their financial history, their financial story, or their debt margin. I think we have someone on the phone line. We'll just take that call now. Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from. Hello, good evening. What's your name and where you're calling from? Okay, I think it's my guest. Hi, Barrister Esther. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here, Barack.
So sorry, you have been trying to join us since 6 p.m. and here we are at 6:50. Sorry for the network. It's really getting in our way. Okay, so I'll quickly talk matter with you. We're talking money and its impact on relationships. And I think my first question to you this evening will be, at what point in our relationship should we get bare on financial conversations?
I think it should be when the courtship begins.
Okay.
I'm not really a fan of dating, so that's why I would say at the beginning of the courtship, everybody should be able to reveal what they earn, how much they earn, assets they have, because it helps with the planning. I mean, you need to know.
Are you talking about planning of the wedding or planning of life together?
Planning of life together. It starts from the courtship. I mean, from the day the man proposes and you say yes to the proposal, everything should be put out in the open. Everybody should know, because life actually begins at that time. Life actually begins at that time. The marital life begins at the courtship, phase. Mm-hmm. So everybody should be able to know Sorry about that. Everybody should be able to know what each person is earning, so that you can plan your life, plan the house you would live in, plan when you know the finances of your spouse. It will help you to know, okay, we can afford this house, we can afford this car, we can afford this, we can't afford this. It just helps with planning.
Okay. So I'm also going to ask, as a lawyer, what would you advise? In whose name should properties be bought? In the name of Mr. and Mrs., in the name of Mr., or in the name of Mrs.? Is it in the name of the children? Properties be bought, because this is one of the biggest controversies that hits families really bad, especially when the husband dies, and in the situation where the person was an affluent person. Sometimes you find out that, you know, brothers and family cheat the wife out of the inheritance. What should it be by the books?
Buy a property in the name of the man, which is the husband or the wife or both of them.
Yeah.
Either way, it can work with buying a property. So for me, I would counsel or advise that, especially now in our country and the way things are, husband and wife should have their name on each property they co-own.
Together.
Because I believe they are co-owners of the property. So their names should both appear on, you know, the property documents. And the reason, just like you said, is because when the man dies, it's usually with the man, because I mean, when the woman dies, it's easy for the man to just, you know, continue administration of the property. But it's harder when it's the man that dies, because of the whole family thing and trying to kick the woman out and all. So it kind of protects the woman from those kind of situations where your husband dies and then the family comes to take everything. But you cannot be coming to take a property document that has my name as a co-owner. Do you understand? So even if you want to sell that property, the document you're going to be presenting to the client who wants to buy my late husband, not my late husband, the late husband's property, is my name is going to be on that document, and you will not be able to sell that document or sell that property to another person if my signature is not, you know, on the document as the person selling to the new buyer. Do you get? So yeah. I think that husband and wife, they should both appear on each property document. You know, any documents they have, any property they have, their both names should appear to protect the woman, you know, in case he dies
an event of death. Okay, so one of our respondents actually did say that we can buy property in the name of Mr. and Mrs., but if I, as a woman, I am working and earning my own money, it is okay for me to invest in properties that I want to invest, but just don't do it in secrecy. What are your thoughts about that particular response?
Well, I think it depends on the couple. It just depends on, you know, both of them, the agreements or the values that their family runs by. So it's not a hard and fast rule. It's not as if it's applicable. There are some, I mean, I have a client currently, he bought a property and mistakenly the people who sold the property to him, or the company who sold the property to him, forgot to include his wife's name. This is an Igbo man. Forgot to include his wife's name as, you know, one of the purchasers, one of the buyers of the property. And this has been over 9 months. He has refused to sign the document until they make that correction. You get? Yes. So it just depends. There are some families or some marriages where they want to do everything together. You know, why there are some that, okay, well, we can both own and we can own separately. It's not a big deal. Okay. Really, it's not a big deal. It just has to do with, you know, what works for each couple.
So in terms of the law, someone has also suggested that if we run a business together, we should buy our properties in the name of the business. So let's say, you know, in your context, you and your husband have a business name that says EENO, right? So that's saying if we want to buy property, whether it's land, cars, and all of that, we should buy it in the name of EENO. Tomorrow, in the advent of something happens to, for instance, a husband, is it still going to be easy for the wife to keep this property because it was bought in the name of EEN? Or some families are of that opinion. Instead of buying it in the name of Mr. and Mrs. or Mr. or Mrs., buy it in the company name. How legally fine and you know, advisable is that?
Okay, well, usually the reason, the common reason why people buy properties in the name of a company is due to, you know, tax evasion, and tax incentives and all of those things. And also the fact that, if you run into debts and everything, the court can only seize your personal property and not the property of the company. So those are like the common reasons why people prefer to buy property in the name of the company. But in this situation, it still depends on the management of the company. If the woman is the next in line director, or whatever, the company, the property belongs to the company. So and in law, the law regards a company as a person.
Okay.
Yes, the law regards a company as a person, separate from the people running the company. So if it was bought in the name of the company, it's going to forever remain the property of the company. But of course, we know if the husband dies, it's the woman who is running the company. So in other words, she's still like, the property still belongs to her. But on paper, legally, the property will continue to remain that of the companies.
Okay. So this,
yes.
we can both agree that this evening, in terms of financial conversations and where families should be tilting to, have a financial conversation and come to a conclusion that works for you. Is that what you're trying to say tonight?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I don't think there's a hard and fast rule, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule as to finances.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just before I let you go tonight, because we're already out of time, apologize,
Okay.
we could have brought you on earlier. Network was really messy. Now, the economy of Nigeria is really blessed. Would you advise any party in a relationship not to be working?
It can't work. Gone are those days. Well, I mean, we still have few men who are able to shoulder the entire responsibility of the home by themselves. But with the whole, inflation and all, it's becoming pretty difficult for only a man to bear the financial responsibilities in a home. That's the truth. So if you're the traditional woman and want to say, it's the man's responsibility, you're going to suffer for it, because he will not be able to, he cannot kill himself. He will only do as much as he can. And where he's unable to, meet up, the entire family will suffer. But why should the family suffer when you as a woman, you have finances? Like, what are you doing with your finances? Do you get?
Yeah.
Yes, what are you doing with your finances? Scripture say if one is weak, if one falls down, the other will lift him up. That's the essence. I mean, the very essence was to be a helpmate. So where he's unable to, you should, as the woman, be able to cover up for him.
All
I
right.
mean, can you imagine a husband paying house rent, paying school fees, giving you, providing food for the family, and I mean, all of those things? It's quite a lot in 2023. Really.
All right.
It's a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Barrister Esther Eno, herself a practicing lawyer, business owner, a relationship coach, and a wife and mother herself. Thank you so much for coming on the show this evening. We absolutely appreciate your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks you so much.
Having me.
Of course, we apologize. We know that Connect is usually really interesting, but the time really doesn't give us room. Thank you to everyone who called. James, everyone who called from Niger State, from Delta State, from Lagos State, everyone who still tried to call, everyone who engaged our conversation on social media. We appreciate you. Mama Funke Adejima will say something. Your husband cannot provide everything for you, woman. His name is not El Shaddai, else he shall die. That is where I'm going to leave the matter for tonight. Also, we return to your screens again next week, Wednesday. My name is Uyai, and you can enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, Nigeria. I absolutely love you.